The OnePlus Watch 3 launched last year. I bought it last October and I've had it for around 6 months. It's been my daily driver and I wanted to share some thoughts around what it's like to actually use this watch day to day. There's lots of information out there about the watch features and its stats, so instead of going down the spec sheet, I'm actually going to approach this from a point of view of someone who's been using it every day and what that experience is like. So hopefully it's a bit more useful if you're thinking of buying this watch. We'll cover the good, the bad, and some really interesting features. So let's go. Quick overview. The OnePlus Watch 3 launched in April 2025. I bought my one in October last year, and I've had it for around 6 months, and I paid around £320 for mine. Now, the price actually dropped considerably since then, so definitely check it out in your local market. But it runs a lovely WearOS, comes in two gorgeous colours, one obsidian titanium and an emerald titanium, and actually comes in two sizes, so the 47mm version, which is this, and then a smaller 43mm version, but that actually looks a little bit different. In terms of design and comfort, 6 months of daily wear, and I still really love this watch. It looks really premium, it's got those titanium bezels, sapphire crystal glass, and it's rated actually to a military level of durability. So this thing has been rained on, sweated through, knocked around, and actually still looks pretty much the same as the day I bought it. So this thing lasts. Comfort-wise, I wear this all day and all night, and it's actually never been an issue. It's super comfortable on the hand, not too heavy, and this like rubber silicone strap is really nice and very comfortable, at least on my skin. Also, it takes standard 22mm bands, so swapping straps out is really cheap and easy if you want to mix things up. In terms of size and how it feels on my wrist, I think that this looks pretty fine and quite good and actually looks like an actual watch, which is great. But I would say if you have slimmer wrists or you want something a little bit more understated, then the 43mm version might be the better option. So let's talk about the headline feature, the battery life. So most WearOS watches, Pixel 4, Galaxy 8, they last about a day or two. And it's actually a similar story with the Apple Watch. It means you frequently have to charge at night, which means no sleep tracking, and just generally having battery anxiety, which I absolutely hate. So the Watch 3 solves this by doing something quite clever. It actually has two chips inside. One is the well-known Snapdragon W5 that handles all the heavy tasks, WearOS, Google Apps, etc. And then there's a second BES 2800 co-processor which takes over for lighter tasks and background tasks when the watch doesn't need its full power. Now what that means is the watch is constantly flicking between the two different chips and just optimizing its battery uses instead of going Snapdragon W5 the whole time and just burning through its battery. And it really works. Real world results, I'm getting 5 to 6 days between charges, and actually the charging itself is so fast. It takes about 10 minutes to get a full day's charge, and then from flat to full, it will take maybe 40-45 minutes. So I sometimes work from home, I've noticed the watch is low battery and sometimes put it on charge while I'm working, and then it's done. I don't need to think about charging. It happens sort of while I was busy with something else, and I almost never get stressed about the battery life. And this for me is a massive win, because a lot of my hesitation previously for other watches was if I'm constantly charging it, it's just a burden. But well done OnePlus, this is a pretty good solution. One thing to note is that there's no wireless charging, but to be honest, it charges so fast and I do it so infrequently that it sort of doesn't matter. There's also a power saving mode which stretches the battery to around 16 days. Now the trade-off is that you don't get to use any of the WearOS features as it's just running the BES 2800 chip, but you still have all your health metrics, health tracking, and basically it works a bit more like a fitness band than a full WearOS watch. It's a great option if you're traveling or you're away and you don't have your charger or you don't want to think about charging. Just whack it into power saving mode and it will literally last days and days. Speaking of charging, a quick note on the charger itself. Now, what you actually get in the box is this cable and then the brick. Now, luckily, the brick is just USB-C. So actually, when I'm traveling, I don't need to take the cable. I just take this little brick and then use it with whatever USB-C cable I have with me. So that's super helpful, not having to have a whole extra charger and always remember it and then basically have no options when I don't have it with me. So yeah, good solution. And it's just quite convenient. Let's talk sports tracking. So the watch has over 100 sports modes and actually 11 specialized pro modes, which gives you basically more in-depth tracking on certain sports. So more than most normal people would need. I found the tracking is actually really good, especially the GPS. It uses a dual frequency GPS. But the thing that's lacking is the customizability. So let me give you an example. Let's take running, very popular, lots of people are running. It tracks my runs great. It gives me some interesting analytics and stats, but the thing that's lacking is that I can't upload a customized run. For example, if I want to set duration, pace, heart rate zones, etc., I can't do that. I can only start a run, do the run, and then see the metrics afterwards. Now, if you're training for a race, like a marathon or something, it's a bit annoying because you can't input your workout plan. So that is a bit of a limiting feature of this watch. But It has loads of sports modes from skiing to tennis, badminton, rowing, freestyle gym, yoga, etc. There's hundreds probably on the website. So it covers everything. It just is a question of how in-depth the analytics you need is and how much you actually care about that. Now, before this watch, I had not owned a WearOS watch before, so there were a few things that pleasantly surprised me and some that I absolutely love, so I just want to talk about that. First is Google Maps on your wrist is literally the most incredible experience. So I cycle around my city, London, in the UK quite a lot. And if you cycle around your city, especially if it's routes that you don't know very often, you know that you have to keep stopping, checking the map on your phone, trying to memorize a bit of the route and then continue. That always used to be super annoying. So what this has solved, and I guess what most WearOS watches solve, is that I can set the route on my phone, hit go, and then all the directions show up on my watch. Best part is if I get lost or take a different route, it will just recalculate it on my phone and push the new route to my watch. So this is really fantastic. Instead of having to constantly stop, I can just quickly glance at the watch. And also you get a little mini map on your watch, so I can quickly check out what the route looks like going forward and things like that. So Google Maps on your watch, incredible. It has actually changed my life and I don't think I can ever go back. Interestingly, you can't get this on Apple Watches, and apparently this feature is not really possible. So yeah, big tick for WearOS, and I don't know if the implementation is different on different WearOS watches, but actually it's great on the Oneplus so far. Secondly, having just the ability to download apps. So this watch has 32 gigabytes of RAM. You can download Spotify and have offline playlists. You can download Audible, so listen to books as you're running, for example. And this has been great because now I actually have the ability to go for runs and I don't need to take my phone. I can just download what I want to the watch, connect my headphones to the watch, and then just go on a run, which is really freeing because carrying a phone around while running is really annoying as well. Extra benefit is that it has NFC payments. I never used to think that would be a useful feature, the people that go around like paying for things like this. How strange, but it's quite good because if I'm on a run, need to nip into the shop, for example, to buy something, at least I have payments on the watch and can pay for things. So quite useful to have around. Two extra nice features is that it has a sleep mode and a screen lock mode. Screen lock mode I normally use in the shower because I don't want the watch to suddenly start reacting to the water. It's very easy just in the quick menu when you swipe down. So very accessible and very useful. Sleep mode, again, don't want the watch to suddenly start reacting in my sleep if somehow it gets activated. And generally it just dims the screen as well. So if I do wake up in the night and want to check the time, it's not just like blasting light in my eyes, which is quite good. Speaking of which, the sleep tracking is pretty accurate as well. It gives you a sleep score on the phone, which feels reasonable, but not something I check very often. It also does way more in terms of health tracking, such as continuous heart rate monitoring, SpO2, sleep analysis, stress monitoring, wrist temperature. It gives like a 60-second health check-in, which is like a snapshot of all your metrics. So just mentioning that there's a lot. I don't tend to use the other features too much, so I won't comment on those, but they're there. And it has Gemini built in, Gemini, Google's AI assistant. Now, AI on a watch, I thought, what a gimmick, who the hell's gonna use that? But it's kind of nice to just have it available. So the way I end up using it is when I'm cooking, I'll ask it to set a timer, or actually if I don't have my phone accessible, but the watch is connected to the internet or my phone is nearby and it's connected, I can just ask it some basic questions, right? What's the weather today? Taking a minute.
Right now it's 10 and mostly sunny.
Don't know if you caught that, but it gave you a little review of the weather in London right now. 10 degrees, not great. So where does the watch fall short? Now I've talked about the sports customizability. That is kind of, for me, the main gap. Because if it had that, then this watch would be basically for everyone. Even if you're training for stuff, you can at least have a bit more control over your workouts and your runs and all the rest of that. So yeah, if you are in fact training for a triathlon, a marathon or some sort of race, you might want to look elsewhere. Obviously Garmin is, those sorts of watches are the gold standard for those sorts of things. But an option is also to just buy like a cheap second fitness band that can help you track your specific runs, but still keep this as your main driver. Secondly, no LTE. Now the watch needs your phone nearby to fully function. Not really surprised at this price point, and it's not really that big a deal. You might want LTE if you're running out and about and you want full map functionality, especially if you're going on a route that you're not familiar with, but I haven't really found the need for it, and again at this price point it would be quite a big ask. On the software side, it's been pretty flawless, right? I've been using it every day for over 6 months. Very few glitches, no crashes, it works fairly seamlessly. I've only had the occasional time where I'm trying to access something from the main home menu, and if it's behind one of the hour or second hands, it doesn't seem to register. I need to tap it a few times, so that's slightly annoying, but again, not the end of the world. Generally, no issues after any updates, which is great. Updates haven't come that often, but the ones that have come through have been stable. So far so good. Now, you should consider buying this if you want a WearOS watch with genuinely probably the best battery life that's currently available. You exercise, but you're not bothered about super in-depth analytics. You want the ability to pay for things, and also you like having good amount of storage so you can download maps, songs, audiobooks, etc. all onto your watch, and also pretty in-depth health metrics. So this watch is for you if any of those things are the thing you're looking for. Not to mention the really premium look and the fact that it really looks like a genuinely nice watch is just an extra benefit. So at a similar price point, you get basically the Pixel 4, which is really polished and it has a lot of the Fitbit features and health insights. However, you probably need to charge it a lot more frequently. Another option is the Samsung Galaxy Watch 8 in the same boat. If you want both the multi-day battery and the deeper sports modes, then actually the Samsung Galaxy Watch Ultra is a great option, but it's a lot more expensive, and really the cost conversation is completely different. So at this price point, in my view, this watch is really one of the best deals that's currently available. And the price has dropped. I saw that the Oneplus Watch 3 is available at £239 on the UK store. They also throw in a lot of free stuff, so you can get like £140 worth of extra free stuff. And they also do trade-in, so if you happen to have a watch or a phone or some other bit of tech that you want to trade in, you can potentially get some more money off, so definitely worth checking that out. So overall, would highly recommend. It's obviously been a little bit of time since this was launched, so it might even be worth waiting for the next iteration of this watch, which might be coming out soon. Let me know if this was useful. Any extra questions, drop them below and I will try and answer them. And yeah, see you in the next one.